Hey, hi everybody, it's the Papa from the Papa's Kitchen, and I'm doing a little something different today. I want to sort of bring you up to date what the last month has been like for us. As some of you may know, my mother passed away on December 20th, Friday, December 20th, and the month prior to her passing was pretty intense with company and what have you, and then because she passed away just before the holidays, we waited until after New Year's to conduct a memorial service for her. And now, today, we're just sort of recovering from that very intense weekend. So let me maybe bring you up to date. It's been an interesting month with her and our family. At Thanksgiving time, we had such, timing-wise, it couldn't have been better. My brother's brother, only living brother, Elmer Drew from Detroit, and his wife Jan, my Uncle Elmer and Aunt Jan, if you would, had planned on coming down and spending the long Thanksgiving weekend with us. So they're in their 90s, well, he's in his 90s, she's in her late 80s, and their son, one of their sons brought them down and was with them that whole weekend. So it was sort of the last time my mother and her brother, would be together. And I've shown you here some pictures of them together, and then my Aunt Jan and whatnot. And it was just a great weekend together. And not only, of course, were they here, but my other two brothers were here as well, and their wives. So we were all together for Thanksgiving over that weekend, and had Thanksgiving dinner up at my brother Mike's house. And then that following Sunday, everybody was down here. I made some ribs and some other hors d'oeuvres, and we just sat around, and that was the most beautiful night. And just a few clips of that too. You can see us all hanging out and talking, and it was fun to listen to my mother and her brother reminisce not only about their childhood and their youth, but also about things they remember at church, like these old hymns. And some of them I didn't even remember, and I know a lot of hymns. And they just would sing them and what have you. And we were just, for the whole evening, just having a good time. What was a little sad at the end of that evening, Sunday night, my uncle was getting ready to go back the next morning to Detroit, and my mother and her brother knew that probably would be the last time they saw each other. So that was sort of both, like I said, very beautiful, timely, but also a little melancholic, if you would, just knowing that that was their last time. And then through the death, that whole couple of weeks prior to my mother's passing, her health began to deteriorate, almost like right after Thanksgiving, began to deteriorate very rapidly. And my brother Mike, who lives down here with me, and Susan and I, they were gone to Europe on a vacation that had been planned for months and months. And so we were here, but then Susan and I had to go up north. I was scheduled to be in Calgary and in Vancouver, British Columbia that weekend. So I knew we left that Wednesday and over that weekend. And I knew there was going to be a small window where my father and mother would be alone. I'm sort of, one of these things, hope everything goes well. But by Saturday and then into that Sunday, while I was out in Calgary, I got a call that said, oh, it was bad at home. And so the very next morning, and I think that would have been like on the 18th or whatever, that Monday, the hospice gal came in. It wasn't even the 18th, probably the 15th. Came in and early that morning, and they immediately made the decision to take my mother into a hospice care facility right near their home, which was like 4 minutes away. It's pretty nice. Beautiful facility and beautiful people working there. Well, when the nurse talked to me before they even transported my mother, they called me in Vancouver, and she says, ask me anything you want. And I said, well, obvious question, do I need to come home? She says, you need to come home immediately. I go, okay, well, that's enough. So by Monday night, I had gotten home. Mother was there, of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, my brother Mike and Sharon had returned from Europe, and they were with her. And then Friday morning, I am drove up early that morning, and I'm about 4 minutes away on the 20th from the facility to visit her, and I want to talk to her nurse. And I get a call, and it's the facility, and they said, "I am so sorry, Mr. David, but your mother just passed away." And I couldn't even believe it. I thought she might go that Friday. That's how bad it was. But you always, in your back of your mind, you're thinking, well, maybe a few more days or whatever, and I'll talk with her today and spend some time. Well, didn't happen. And because that's also near my dad's house, they said, "We're going to call your dad next." I said, "Nah, I'll go right there to his house and tell him personally." So it's exactly what I did. And after a little while, Michael and Sharon came down, and I was here, and Susan was still up in Lincoln, finishing up some stuff with her mom. And then I grabbed my dad, and we went over and spent just a little time in my mother's room before the mortuary came. And then we decided almost immediately, with everything going on with holidays and grandkids that wanted to come, but with the holidays, you don't want to mess them up, we decided just to hold off on any memorial until January 3rd. And do you know, because we did that, every single one of my mom and dad's grandchildren were here. All of her children were here. All the grandchildren were here. And they even had about a dozen great-grands that were here as well. So it was a busy, intense weekend this past with the memorial. And then with family activities all sort of woven in that. But it was good. It was really good to be together. It was good to reminisce. In thinking about talking to you today a little bit about her, and even what I mentioned in the eulogy and the message that I gave, I directed the memorial service, I'm reminded of a lot of things about my mother. Number one, she had a great sense of humor. Look at this clip, if you would, just for a second. It actually outlines her humor. She had a good, quick comeback. You keep a legacy going, you keep a heritage going by sort of figuring out ways to ensure that you're relating to different generations. So, and in my case, and we were talking at dinner, I'm in the middle, and so I'm having to take care of you.
Not really.
And I'm having to take care of my I feel the weight of this thing on my shoulders. Well, that gives me hope then. I don't know which child I'm going to move to when I get to your age, Luke or Sarah.
Well, you only got 2.
I do, that's right. You got 4. So I may just spend half the year with one and half the year with the other.
Well, you'll do what they tell you to do.
I tell you right now, I will not.
Yeah.
The other thing that I clipped out of this little video that I wanted to show you, Lisa's segment, is her love for family. She loved having family around. She loved having the boys around when we were all down here during the winter. She had a job for every one of us. She had it sort of slotted on how she, quote, used us and what have you, but we enjoyed it. And she just loved to talk. She wanted to know everything that was going on in your life. So family was important. Watch this. A number of weeks ago, when my children came down and their spouses, we ended up going down to Lake Worth at a very popular place called Benny's on the Beach. And I don't know, Sue, if the kids had ever been there. Had they? I think I had taken some of them. Oh, they said no, but I think I've taken them. You hadn't been there.
No.
And my mother and dad. So we called them and invited them to come to this house and then drive down with us, and let's all go to breakfast, like a brunch. And it's really nice. It's a restaurant out on the pier. We had a great time. And we took some pictures, I think, that we can show of all of us. But what it was so neat is it was 3 generations. And that's what was so fun about breakfast. We sat around that morning down at Benny's, and we're all exchanging information. Sarah and Solo are building, and Luke and Jill's job, and the changes with their kids at school, and this, that, and the other. And then the other thing that, as I was going through this video a little bit, this was up back in January of 2024 that we posted this. after they were at my house for dinner one afternoon. But my mother not only enjoyed family, but she had great wisdom. I mean, really did. She just knew how to handle things or how to think through things. And she only had a high school education, but my goodness, what she learned through her years, and any journey that any of us go on, we do get experience from that. But my mother was gifted. Honestly, I really feel that, gifted with a capacity for certain wisdom that just doesn't come from reading or whatever. She just had that innate way to look at things and offer some good, clear-cut wisdom on matters. I'm just curious, one question is, how do you approach in your mind relating to your adult children?
Well,
and we're all in almost our 70s now, 60s and 70s.
Yeah, right. So you've been adults for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I think actually what's lacking in today's families is communication.
Yeah.
Because my husband and we can go in a restaurant and see a family of 4 or 5, and everybody's got their own cell phone, and they're all absorbed totally.
Yeah.
So they're not learning the skills of communication or even talking honestly and openly with each other.
Right. No, they're not.
Now our roles change. I'm no longer his boss or the one he looks to for direction or anything like that. No. So you've got to be flexible to be able to change there, but it doesn't mean you become less interested.
That's a good point.
You're still interested in their lives. I don't care how many down generations you are. I can talk to my great grandkids and wonder how they're doing in school and what's going on, and who likes them and who do they like, and that sort of thing. And keep involved in the intimate things in their lives, and we can talk about it. So I think communication is actually the number one thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's showing interest in where they're at.
If you are interested in them when they're 5 years old, that doesn't change when they're 70 years old.
Yeah, right.
You're still interested in what they're doing. I still want to know where you're going and how long you're going to be gone, because they're kind of all over the world now.
Yeah.
And when you're coming back, and then, not that I would try to control that, but just be interested in it, and something to talk about.
Yeah.
When we get together as a family, I don't want to see everybody on their own cell phone. No. You talk to me. Tell me what's going on in your life. And I'll tell you what's going on in my life.
No, I don't. Who's the new girlfriend? All that stuff.
Sure. You should have been communicating enough to know the intimate things about each family.
Yes.
I'm a detail person, and I love the details. I still do. I want to know, even with the great grandkids, okay, who's dating who, and how's it going? And which one's going to have a baby? And by the way, I've got a total grand and great 52 of them. And so there's a lot to talk about right there,
Exactly. So, as all of you know, my mother, along with my daughter Sarah and myself, wrote a book called Common Sense Parenting a few years ago. And one of the things that we covered in there that Mother was really contributing with was how to deal as a parent with the different seasons in life, from an infant to a teenager, toddler, teenager, then a young adult, and then a married adult, and even with us children who are in our 70s and 60s, how to deal and what the relationship needs to be with that. And she again brought her wisdom to bear with that. Look at this clip.
And you've got to be able, all through your life, to adjust to the different stages of life, because there's going to be change. If you live as long as I do, you're going to get to a place where you can't really take care of yourself. And you're going to need help from the generation under you. And you've got to recognize, there's changes. We didn't really want necessarily to move to Florida.
From Phoenix.
We were established with lots of friends, and and no family, but lots of friends. And in our situation, we were very established and very happy. But when the boys presented to us, you're 90 years old, you need to be by family, we thought, oh, maybe that's true.
Yeah.
We've had health problems since we've been here, and it was good to have family around.
Yeah.
But who knows what the next change is going to be.
Yeah.
But God help us to accept whatever it is.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
when you wake up in the morning, you're still here on earth. So you gotta
deal with it.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But isn't it good though that you do have a relationship with your
Oh,
son?
absolutely. See, that's been establishing for however old you are, 70 years old
Well,
now.
I wasn't going to say that, but
Yeah, so we've been establishing a relationship
for a long
70
time.
years.
Yeah.
That ought to count for something. That's exactly where it comes down to. I had somebody in when I broke my arm last year and had to go to the hospital, and then of course to rehab.
Yeah.
Well, some little lady, cleaning lady in rehab, I was fussing about something, and she said, honey, don't you know once a man and twice a child? I'd never heard that before. And I thought about that. Yeah.
once a man,
Once a man.
twice a child.
And that goes for once a woman, twice a child, too.
Yeah.
And that's true, because you get into this world and somebody's having to change their diapers, and the lady right down from me, she had to have her diapers changed too.
And she's going out as a child.
Right, she's going out.
God.
You go out as a
So
child.
this is what I have to look forward to.
Yeah, if you live
If I live that long.
that long, yeah.
But I think the thing that probably in this last clip that you're going to see that was the most important, and she would mention it, and it was a big deal to her, is that she understood all that she was doing in raising 4 children and then being involved in grandkids' lives and great-grandkids' lives and wondering how they're doing and all that. She understood the long game. She really knew she was a part of, not the beginner, but a part of a long line, long heritage, a long legacy of real strong leader type people that were raised up, not only her, but under her as well as a parent and a grandparent. And that legacy is perpetuating as long as you keep feeding it right, as long as you make it the center or the focus of all that you're doing. It's not just to get through today as a parent or it's to look in the long run and long term and say, this is why we do what we do. This is the principles or the values we live by. This is why we do them, because we're building long term. That to me was the most important. In fact, I brought that out quite a bit during her memorial service, as well as my brothers, and each one of them had a child up with them of one of their children and her grandchildren. You heard it from the 3 generations. This is why we do what we do and why we think and act and participate in life the way we do. And she really was clear on this. Watch this clip. Enjoying the relationship with your children and your grandchildren. That's a very important thing, I think. I really
It's not enjoying, it's rewarding.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
I'm being rewarded for the years I've been at sleepless nights. You guys know.
Yeah.
That's you're excited. You're pregnant. You're going to have your first baby.
Yeah.
You bring that thing home, and
then,
you
oh my God, yes.
Can I give it back?
No, I know. I know
it's a sleepless. But the relationship you have with your adult children is the reward you get for all those years you put in raising.
And that makes a good point. But it is fun to watch their lives take off in their direction. That to me is the reward. Just to see them grow into their own.
Because I'm still interested. You can see happy people or unhappy people by how they adjust to the different phases of life.
Yes, and I actually think if you, as in your case, the older one of our family, you've taught us something, the next generation, to be happy and adjust, and we've done the same for our children.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it for their children. It's got to be. It's something you've got to almost import as a code, if you would.
Right.
As you can see, Jesus Christ was the center of her existence. He really was. everything revolved around that premise. And so he kept her. You could tell her relationship with him was very, very personal, very intimate, very worshipful. It was just a beautiful thing. And it gave us, as her children, understanding of how to relate to Christ as well. And we are a strong Christian family. We make no apologies for that. And that's what kept her. As I end today with you, I just want you to know, just maybe as an encouragement to you, maybe you're frustrated sometimes as a parent, or you see what your grandkids are doing. I'll tell you what, number one thing you can do, what my mother did for all of us, is pray for them. And number two, encourage and support them. Just pour into them every chance you get. Show them love, not only love of a parent or grandparent, but love of how Jesus would express it and how much he loves us so unconditionally. Do that with your children, even the problem child, and you're going to find a real turning. You really will. It may not be overnight. Normally it isn't. But I'll tell you what, think and plant seeds for the long-term harvest, not for a short-term quick edification, but long-term. Think that way. Think legacy. Think heritage. And when you do, I'll tell you what, it's a wonderful thing to stand up at the funeral of your mother and not only look at your life, but the life of your children and your grandchildren who are following her example, who she followed a generation before her's example, and to know you're a part of this long lineage. We'll be back next week with some cooking. In fact, I've got a video next week showing you some activity we had around here over this weekend with the funeral as we got together as family and all that. And it'll be fun. Have a great week. Thank you for listening today.